For the second time in as many weeks, the eyes of the Pac-12 Conference will be on the Rose Bowl as UCLA and Utah face off in what should be the conference's best match of the week. Hi, I'm James of Faithful Angelino Sports with a Week 6 preview of UCLA football. And if you enjoy the content I'm about to provide, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we do talk UCLA football here. Now, before the season, this match was supposed to be the hard break from a cupcake schedule that the Bruins had cobbled together. Of course, as we all know now, Washington changed that last week because the Huskies had gotten off to such a hot start. The Huskies posed this clear threat to UCLA's unbeaten streak because Washington had reached number 15 in the national rankings. But as it turned out last week, UCLA was clearly up to the challenge, and the only reason that game was close at all was because Washington rallied big time in garbage time. So we could put to bed whether or not number 18 UCLA is a good team or whether they're going to be bowl eligible. They're 5-0. Now, I have no idea what this means outside of the conference. I don't know how many eyes across the nation are paying attention to UCLA. But I do believe they are starting to give the Bruins a second look. Both teams are ranked in the top 20, and the problems that UCLA and Chip Kelly must solve Saturday, however, are one, that Utah has been kicking the hell out of UCLA now for the last 5 years. And that's not me trying to talk crap, that's a straight up fact. The Utes have beaten UCLA by at least 20 points in each game in the last 4 years alone. Now, number two, Utah is also trying to force the nation to get a second look at them, just like UCLA wanted the nation to look at the Bruins as well. See, the Utes had designs on crashing the college playoff party before the year, and then they lost the season opener to Florida 29-26. Utah then has decided to go out and try to make a name for themselves. They've won the last four by considerable margins. The problem that the Utes face, however, is that the Florida loss is looking worse week after week. Florida has since lost to Kentucky. Florida has since lost to Tennessee. In other words, losing to the Gators this year was the definition of a bad loss. So Utah, therefore, is highly motivated, not just to win, but to embarrass the Bruins, to impress the pollsters. And if you look at Utah, they certainly have some tools to put up some decisive wins. Quarterback Cameron Rising, he's not just an effective passer, accurate, pretty even-keeled according to scouts, but he also runs very well. And the Utes have a decent running back in Terrion Thomas. I would put Thomas right up there with UCLA's Zach Charbonnet. Utah averages more than 200 rushing yards per game. And oh, by the way, also on an offense, tight end Dalton Kincaid is seen as a legit NFL prospect. Moreover, the Utes played defense. They allowed just 14.4 points per game. Twice, they've only allowed one touchdown to an opponent. Defensive tackle Junior Tafuna is a returning freshman defensive player of the year. Cornerback Clark Phillips, he leads the conference in interceptions. He had 3 last week against Oregon State alone. So if you're looking at this game like I am, I'm asking myself who I would take. And the honest answer is, damned if I know. Because they do some things very, very well. I mean, I mentioned how many yards the Utah gets on the ground. Well, guess what? UCLA also gets more than 200 yards rushing per game. And the Bruins also allow fewer than 20 points per game. Both teams stop the run. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Bruins defensive tackle Jay Toya is having a terrific year. He leads the conference in sacks. You got Toya and the Grayson twins at defensive end. I actually tend towards liking UCLA's defensive line against Utah's front. So I don't want to predict a winner. What I'd rather do is describe a path of victory that either team can take. Both teams clearly want to run. So if either team can do that, great. That's exactly what they want. If it's a combination of Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Zach Charbonnet, or if it's Rising and Thomas, that's what each team would want. But assume for the moment that the other side stops each other's running game. Or maybe Utah can run, but UCLA can't. I can think of a second choice for the Bruins offense in that I fancy their receivers over the Utes. Phillips can only be in one place at a time, the cornerback I mentioned earlier. And Utah likes to run a 4-3. Now, if they stay in that formation, I would pass to the wide receiver not covered by Phillips. Simple as that. In other words, if Phillips takes Casimir Brown, I look at Jake Bobo. And if Phillips takes Bobo, vice versa. Now, of course, Utah could present a nickel defense and then all bets are off. But you do that at risk of allowing UCLA to run the football. So the Utes have, at this point, while they're clearly inspired to beat down UCLA, they do have a couple of more questions that they have to answer when they face the Bruins. I basically think UCLA has at least one more offensive option than Utah. But I'm not exactly a gambling man. So you tell me what you think in the comments thread, because this is a game that I'm not comfortable picking either side. If you enjoyed this clip, though, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelinos, because we talk UCLA football here. I'm James. Thanks for watching. Faithful Angelinos is a Quian Corte El Queso production. Take care.